and welcome to today's amazing session where we're going to talk about what happens when your child can focus. Everything that changes when your child can focus, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So if you're excited, let me know in the chat right now. Let me know in the chat right now. Okay, so yesterday I asked you guys to time your child's independent focus time. The numbers have been coming in. The one parent said 2 minutes, another person said 11 minutes. One parent even said, oh, 2 minutes, right? Even a parent, it was under 1 minute. So thank you for doing this anyways. And whatever your number is, it's actually a starting point. It's not a verdict, not a label. It is a starting point, because I want you to think about this. Close your eyes for a second. In fact, please don't close it, right? Because you're alive here. But just think about this. Imagine this. Your child actually sits down to do homework without you asking, without you nagging, without a fight. They do their homework without you having to beg or yell. They work for 20 minutes straight, no distractions, no getting up. They finish, they come to you and say they are done. How would that make you feel? Type one word in the chat. Type one word that describes that feeling. What would that be for you? What would that feeling be for you? So let me tell you something. Today I'm just basically going to be doing a lot of storytelling and tell you stories about like parents like you who have gone on to see some transformations. And I'm going to start with telling you about this child who, like, when we started, this child was the bottom 5 of their class, literally bottom 5. And not because the child was stupid. The parent knew that the child was smart, right? But the grades never showed it. The test scores were on the floor. The parent would open the report card with her heart pounding every single time. And she would sit with her son and he would say things like, I don't know what happened. I just went blank. I studied, but I forgot everything. And she believed him because, she was there when he was studying. She had sat with him while he studied, but when the test came, it was like everything disappeared. And what was really happening? What was the problem? It was that this child could focus with support. He could study with his mom sitting next to him, but independently, the focus window was too short to complete a full test. So the anxiety was off the chart, right? That's why it was happening. And so once his focus improved, once the child could see what was happening, once we were able to overcome that, what happens next? What happened was like film, right? Because next thing was that this same boy was not able to focus on his own for a while. And because of that, he was able to even study more. He now had more confidence in himself. He was able to sustain his attention long enough. And in just like 2 terms, he went from that bottom 5 to top 10 in his class. And it's not like he got smarter or anything. The only thing that did that happen was that he can now actually hold attention, and he could now assimilate. He could hold his attention and he could get what he was studying. That's the only thing that changed. So you can kind of see how like focus is the bottleneck, because when your child can focus, every other thing changes. Here's another family, and this one breaks my heart. But I assigned her to one of my coaches who work with them, and she said something. She was like, Chris, these people, this house is a war zone. Every evening was a battle. And this lady was a bank manager. So imagine coming home, homework battles, dinner battles, bedtime battles. The mom said something. She said, I don't enjoy my children. I don't enjoy coming home. After working too hard at work, I come home and it's battle on battle on battle. Every day is a negotiation. She said she's yelling and fighting. She was almost losing it. So we did not fix the child. What we did was we fixed the system. We built structure. I told her, see, what you need is predictable structure, predictable sequence, and everything shifted. The evenings became more calm. Your husband even started contributing. He started reading with her son. The mom, she will come back home. She will even make food happily. She started getting more involved. There was more space because It's not about adding more stuff, it's about decluttering. That's what structure does, it declutters. There was now more air to breathe. And that's what really changed. It's not that the children changed, it's the conditions that changed, right? Here, let me tell you one more story. There's this child, that has graduated to what we call learned helplessness. This is where a child now says stuff like, "Oh, I'm stupid," and all of that. And so each time the mom heard her say this, she will be like, "Stop saying that, stop saying that." But then she'll be like, "I can't do it. I've been trying, I can't do it." And so when she came to us, we realized that the major challenge here was learned helplessness because the child had evidence that she couldn't do what needs to be done. So what we needed to do was to replace that and shift it. And that's why I would always tell you anytime, any day, that competence begets confidence. Because when you know you can do something, right, you're able to do it more effectively. And that's what we did. We empowered her to be able to have those skills. Once we were able to, we did not pump her with confidence of self by saying, "Oh, you are strong, you are great." We started just by training her focus, so she was able to finish things that she started and to complete it, to repeat it, and she got a good hang of it. And the moment she started doing them right, she started feeling like, "Oh, I'm not that bad. Oh. I can actually do this," right? Over and over, over and over. And one day, it dawned on her that, "Oh, I'm not stupid, right? I'm not stupid." So that's what is needed, because the lack of focus, lack of that distraction will even endanger your child's ability, because then they feel like they're not good enough. And so all of this is possible for your child. You have to understand. You have to understand that every parent in one of these stories was where you are right now. They were frustrated. They were wondering if things would ever change. But everything eventually changed, and not because the children were different, but because something different was built around them. And so you have to understand everything is possible for your child at any age. The question is not whether your child can change, it's whether you are willing to build the environment and the structure that lets them, because that's actually the real work that needs doing. And that's everything that we've discussed so far, talking about a framework, a system, a life system where I'll walk you through it. Everything about environment, routine, structure. Everything that we've talked about since we began and we started talking about structure, you're going to finally get a hang of it on Sunday on the 17th of May. I think the link is already on the screen, textzakids.org/FWT. So if this show has meant something to you, if you've learned anything, this is where you want to be, right? The link is also in the description as well, so you can simply click it, use a sign up. I want to see you on Sunday, right? Because after that, we'll not be talking about structure anymore. Move on to the next topic. And then we'll keep walking through our daily show. But are you going to be there? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you're definitely going to be there on Sunday, 17th of May. We're definitely going to be talking about structure, how you can build structure, how you can help your child and actually get results, especially as regards training your child's focus. So congratulations and thank you so much for staying to the end. If you are here right now, please make sure you share this stream with one of your loved ones. It's such a commitment of love coming here every day to do this. Share it with more parents who you know want this. Share this stream, right? Somebody will thank you for doing that. I'm going to see you in the next one. Have a great evening.